Thank you so much for attending the Manufacturing Connect Manufacturing Day this October 21st, 2021. We are so excited to celebrate why manufacturing is so important. Today is about exposing what manufacturing is to those who don't know or who want to know more. We're going to find out a little bit about HM Manufacturing in Wakanda, Illinois with Nicole Wolter. She's going to give us a tour. She's going to have her employees join us for some show and tell and some storytelling and share opportunities, as well as why manufacturing is so important, why you should get yourself involved in some kind of training to get access to careers in manufacturing. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole Wolter, HM Manufacturing.
Woo! Well, thanks, Dee Dee. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be a part of this. The rest of the team, and then this is Tony, who is a great friend of ours and is actually in the industrial park next to us. He is second gen, right? Second generation?
Yep.
Okay, and they do so many cool things like welding. They make machines. They do a lot of cool things. So he's here to kind of also spearhead this discussion. But in the meantime, we've got Alex and we've got Adam. And take it away, guys. Talk about your experiences, how long you've been doing this, why you're doing it, why you like it.
Here, let's do it this way. Adam, how did you come to HM Manufacturing?
I met the HM through a mutual friend of theirs and applied, and here I am.
What position did you apply for?
So I started here doing CNC lathe, which I came here knowing absolutely nothing of CNC lathe.
And we hired him anyways.
I was gonna say, and he knows a little bit more than that now.
Yeah, I was originally here for doing a CNC mill, but at the time when I got hired, there was the other guy was still there, and he ended up staying. So I did CNC lathe, and year after year, keep doing more and more and more stuff, and now I'm production manager out there and run the shop.
So how long ago was that you came on board?
It's coming up on 9 years.
What? Oh Lord.
So
making me feel old now too. How old are you?
20. I'll be 22 in a couple months.
Yeah,
32. I was gonna say, you got here when you were 12? I mean, that's something.
That's amazing.
So what's cool is you came here from knowing nothing, right?
Well,
You knew something, but
I came from a mold shop, so I built molds, so I know all about the mold aspect and mill stuff. I just never touched a lathe or gears before.
Yeah.
And you learned that in high school?
Yeah, I started in freshman year of high school, just running manual lathes and manual mills, and I started in board drafting. Old school, big board, and you hand draw the prints. So that's where I started there, and then progressed through that. Went into AutoCAD through high school, more into the manufacturing in high school. When I was sophomore, I believe, is when I started at the mold shop that I came from, just as an apprentice, basically just a shop monkey, sweep the floor, clean the machine, do this, do that. And then
we call it a gopher. I mean, it's a little bit nicer than a shop monkey. I mean,
general labor is the
general labor. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pre-politically correct. Let's see. I went into the mold maker's apprentice. They said it was going to take me 7 years. I finished it in 4.5 or 5 years. So I was basically getting apart and reverse engineering it, designing the mold, building the mold from start to scratch in there, and then I left there to come here, and then like a year later, the owner of the previous shop asked if I could come back and run second shift. So I was here first shift and then running second shift over there for probably 3-4 years. So.
That's a man that likes to work.
Yes.
And knows,
and loves manufacturing. I mean, I love manufacturing. I don't know if I do 2 shifts.
and it's second nature to me. I just grab and go. When everybody was in high school, was still working on certain projects. I was completely done with every project for the whole year in the first couple of months. So I was just making random things that I probably shouldn't be making in school. You know, they allowed me to make weapons in school. It's kind of weird, but okay.
We're not encouraging that behavior.
Right,
That's not what we're saying.
Yeah, but we
It
just want to be in manufacturing.
just
Maybe we're not the
happens.
right person for this, Adam.
Hey, you want my story? It's my story. You know. So, you know, they had all the prints there, so I made whatever I wanted there, and it progressed from there.
Yes.
The thing that I think is cool though is he came from, you know, the mold maker background, but came into your space, was given an opportunity to excel,
Yes.
Continued to develop from step to step to step, now running the department.
The entire shop.
Yeah. In
32.
9 years and 32
Yes.
and
At
at 32.
32.
So
Yeah.
It means that the opportunity is there for the next person that's hungry to do that.
Right. And I think what's really cool about manufacturing is not only is it in demand,
Yep.
but I really like the fact that you're not going to be lost in a corporation. You're not going to be a number. We all care about our team. There's a lot of empathy there. And I think that's why you're able to grow, is because you can learn what someone's good at and then morph that around what they like to do. So there are a lot of cool opportunities. All right. So now, Alex.
Yeah.
Well, I started in high school. My freshman year, I took an engineering class. I did not think I was going to be doing that for my career, so I didn't pay any attention. And, I know,
So lesson to you,
Yeah.
when you're at school and you think, why am I doing this? This is never going to serve me. It may. So pay
Right.
attention and do your best no matter what you're doing.
I
Correct.
hated math class, and now I use math every single day. And then my junior year, my sophomore year, I got into woodworking. And that's when I really fell in love with starting to make things. And then I think that's also the year I took metals 1. I didn't take metals 2 until my senior year, but we had a new metals teacher by then, and he was amazing. Rodman. He ended up completely turning around the shop at our school. I mean, it was amazing. And he really instilled a sense of pride of manufacturing in me. And he knew Nicole. And then by the time of the end of my senior year, he wanted to get me a job. And so he got into contact with Nicole, and then here I am. I started on the gear hobber. I think that was July of 2018. And then about a year later, I moved on to the CNC mill. I ran that for about 2 years. And now I'm in the office working all the CAD stuff. So I do all of the prints. I do most of the engineering ish. I do help find tooling, fixtures, all of that. So that's how I got here. And I really love it here. It's really awesome to me to make the print and then see that part come back at the end of the day, and just, it's fun. I love it.
I just got to jump in because it's amazing that these young people are doing this. I have visited hundreds of manufacturing companies, and the roles that they're doing typically are done by people that is 60 plus, 60
Yeah.
years old or older, and the company is begging them not to retire because there's nobody there to replace them. So kudos to you, Nicole, for taking a chance.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I think it's an opportunity. And what I love about the young factor is that there's so much energy, there's excitement, and they want to learn, they want to keep pushing. And for me, I consider myself a disruptor. So I like
That's true.
this. Yes, absolutely. My dad would 100% agree with that as well. But what is fun is that you get these bright ideas and different ways of doing things. I mean, I brought on Instagram and TikTok because I had interns that came in and I was like, you know what, this would be a good project for you to do. And now they do the TikToks, and it's fun. And we're constantly pushing the boundaries. And when they're young, they're gamers. They love to be on social media. They love to be a part of that. So that pushes the company to keep growing and moving forward and adapting.
So I have a question. Oh, good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with what Nicole was saying, and not being somebody that works at HM but works with HM. This industrial park is flooded with people that are looking to hire young people that want to work, young people that are curious, young people that want an opportunity to succeed. That's what it takes. So I I think there's a lot of hype and hullabaloo about how there are no jobs. There are jobs, and there are jobs, very, very good paying jobs that will give you not a pizza delivery job, but a career for 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 years down the line. But you have to be willing to put in the effort. You have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to learn, to show up, and to make an impact for that company.
Right.
We are just down the street. We're in a different sector, but the same kind of thing. We work in plastic injection molding. So everything that you see that's made with plastic has to be made from a mold of some sort. We work on finishing, building, and helping to create those molds. So everything we do has a hand in those products you're using, whether they're pens, whether they're catheter tubes, whether they're, iPhone cases, bottle caps, anything you can think of that has to be done with plastic. There's somebody that's making that. And there are companies all across the Chicagoland area, we're not even going to say the country,
Right.
that are looking for young, eager, talented, excited people to come in and take the place of those seasoned, we'll call them seasoned, right? Those seasoned professionals that want to retire, that are going to be retiring because we haven't done a good enough job to make it a career choice for people. And
Right.
so it's exciting for me to see what's going on here and see the youth. And even the fact that we're having this conversation with you guys over Zoom.
It's so cool.
It's so cool because
Yeah.
it means there's a hunger, there's a passion, there's a wanting to do more and
Yeah.
be part of it. I'll say manufacturing in the United States is never going to go away.
No.
So if you're looking for a job that's not going to go away, find one. They're open. How do you get a job? Walk in the front door and
I'll
say,
give you one.
yeah. All you literally have to do is walk in. We are in the Wakanda Industrial Park. If
Yes.
you come over here, and it doesn't have to be HM or Alliance. If you go to any of those buildings and you say, hi, I'm getting ready to graduate. I don't know what my career path is, but I'm looking for a job and something that I can do. I'm eager to work,
Eager to learn.
eager to learn. Is there something here for me? I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times, they're going to say yes, and you're going to have an interview. Now it's up to you to perform.
Correct.
I have a question in the chat.
Okay.
How do you take an individual just starting in manufacturing with limited experience and step them up to the level of these gentlemen?
Well, so I can speak from experience because that's what we did here. It's all about training, job shadowing, and sending out for more training. So, with Adam, he was really good with his hands and being able to take things apart. And he went through every division and he learned that way. But then when it came time to finesse him, we did send him out for HR training. We sent him out for kind of like the bigger echelon X and Y spindle that we did at TMA. And so it's about giving people the opportunity to go through those stages. And yes, it's all about throughput now, and everything is demand, need now. But, as employers, we also have to be very cognizant about kind of curating these experiences and saying like, okay, we might not get all of this done today, but it's about learning. So when I like Cruz out there, who is 18 and he came to me just part-time, now he's full-time. I see his hours kind of spike and I see productivity going down, but he's learning, right? And we all have to be very good about learning that and understanding that. And with Alex, it was the same thing. We put him on the gear hopper. He learned from Adam. Adam was the one that was showing him the ropes and shadowing and making sure that he understood that. Once he was ready for that, we moved him up. And then through that course, now that he is in the position that he is, because there was a job opening that came about. And I said, you know what, Alex, you're so good at programming. I think you're a little bit slow for machining, but I think you're going to be really good at this. And honestly, he is. He went all of the SolidWorks from beginner, intermediate, advanced, and assembly. And he did this in 8 weeks, all of them? He took all the courses right away because he was so excited and loved it and didn't want to stop. And now he's so insanely proficient at it that it's just the sky's the limit for him. So I think it's about kind of starting slow and letting your team member kind of tell you and watch and observe. I'm a big observer. And I think that's how you start someone slow and you just keep building and building and building and not really worrying about the throughput so much, because your other team members that have been here for so long can keep pushing and hustling on that end. But you also have to be really good about nurturing the new talent. and not
Love it.
scaring them off.
Can I jump in there a little bit?
Yeah.
So when we have new people come on, what we know is this sounds obvious, right? They're making less than the seasoned people. So it's not expected for them to be able to put out the same amount of work in the same time frame.
Yeah.
They can take double the time sometimes, and they're still just as valuable and just as profitable for the company. So it's up to the ownership and the leadership to look at that person and say, hey, how do we bring you along so that you can get to where you need to be? Not rush it and expect more, because then what's going to happen? That new person is going to make a mistake because they think they have to live to some standard that some other person's been doing for 30 years.
Right.
They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to know how to explain that, and it's going to put it in a bad situation. So as leadership, it's our job to come alongside that person and say, hey, we noticed this in you. Is something that we think that you would be good at. Are you interested? Right. That's the first thing, is interest and curiosity.
Yeah.
If they say yes, they're not going to be automatically amazing at it. It's going to take time, and it's on us to train them and bring them along and make sure that all those opportunities are available.
Yeah.
But it also takes that individual to come to you, to come to myself, to come to Adam and say,
Right.
hey,
You have to communicate.
I'm ready
Yeah.
for the next step.
Yes.
Have the courage to talk to the ownership and say, I'm ready for that next step. Will you take a chance on me? This is what my interests are. This is what my passions are. If you just keep to yourself and expect to get noticed, sometimes what happens is, everybody's busy, and we think, Phil is happy doing what Phil is doing, so we're going to let Phil keep doing what Phil's doing.
Right.
But if Phil comes up to Nicole and says, hey, I think I've graduated from this, I'd like another challenge.
Right.
Now that door is open.
So I have another question.
Okay.
Base salaries for new employees are in what range?
So I think they start depending, right? So kids that are coming out of high school with low skill set that need training, I start them out at $18 an hour.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's Wakanda, not
Yeah.
Chicago, where it's required, where
Right.
$15 is the minimum.
Right.
That's a choice that you
And-
make.
And to piggyback off Nicole, just down the street, our driver, just doing pickup and deliveries, was making $17 an hour. On home from college,
Yeah.
he was making $17 an hour. We don't start anybody lower than $17 an hour because we want them to have a living wage and take pride in what they're doing.
Right.
And
And
it's
see
not
value in coming to work
Right.
and working versus, going to McDonald's and getting paid that same wage. And you just kind of have to sit there like a robot. We don't want that. We want to encourage manufacturing, encourage those skill sets, and encourage the career in manufacturing. So
Yep.
I feel like those need to warrant the pay set.
Yep.
Okay, I have another question. What are some tips for high school students figuring out what type of role or position to work in manufacturing?
That's you guys.
It all depends on what you like. Do you like working with your hands? You like working with computers? You like designing things? You like writing code? There's a path for everything. If you're good at something, what everybody says, if you're good at something, get a job, and then it's not like you're working. So you go that route, or you could just go in blind.
That's very much
I
what
have
do.
no idea what I want to do, but I want to work in manufacturing. What do you got?
I mean, I figured out that I really enjoyed making stuff, and I think anyone can make a part if you give them enough time. But if someone enjoys making it and enjoys what they're doing, it's going to be a better product no matter what. And I think that really does play a big part in where you go in your manufacturing, because there are so many different avenues. Anything that you have is manufactured somehow. So, I mean, you can go down any route with that.
I'll piggyback a little bit. I got too many thoughts on all this
This
stuff.
is so good. We
You should
need
not
this.
have brought me
No,
here.
so Tony has his own podcast. So we're so cool here in our manufacturing industry that Tony has a podcast. I've got the cool people and TikToks. So the sky's the limit for us too.
So here's what I'll say off of that. What Adam said is very true. The things that you're good at and the things that you like, you should pursue as a career, right? There's a cartoon meme of all the animals in a line, and it says if all the animals in the jungle were judged based on their ability to climb a tree, a monkey would be awesome and an elephant would suck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is, right? So not everybody's going to be good at all the same things. That being said, we already heard a story about how You hated math, and now you use math every day. So just because in school you don't like to write a paper, or you don't like code, or you don't like math, or you don't want to do this, it's high school. Nobody likes it. I mean, let's be honest, right? It all feels meaningless and pointless because it's for a grade that is short-lived. That's just fact, right? If we're being honest. When you go to work, it's totally different because now you have a sense of pride in what you're doing, and you're building this thing that can have an impact on the community around you and the world around you, whether it's making something that, makes, I was watching the hamburgers, right? Who cares? It makes hamburgers. Well, hamburgers feed people. Hamburgers give people what they need to get by to the next day. Yeah, it's McDonald's. Yeah, but some people can only afford McDonald's.
Right.
So we have to build a product that is going to help the people where we can help the people. And if you go in with that mindset, then everything becomes meaningful, not meaningless.
Amen.
Okay, I have a question about the podcast. What is it about? Is it to learn more about manufacturing, or what are your topics?
Yeah, so
They're every topic.
Our podcast is called the Manufacturing Alliance, and it's really about manufacturing in the United States and what that looks like. So what we do is we reach out to companies in the United States first and foremost, and we talk to them about how they got to where they are, what their struggles are, what their challenges are, what their skills are, what their success stories are, and then we just talk about what is current in the world of manufacturing. It's a conversation. It's not purely an interview. Nicole's been a part of it a couple times.
It's not pre-scripted questions, which is nice. It's just kind of thought provoking, and it's just like
it's basically this.
Yeah.
But every week. So we do it every week at 11:30 Central Standard Time on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So it's live. Anybody can come on and ask questions and be part of the conversation through those platforms. But we have guests where every week it's a new guest that is a leader in the manufacturing space, so that we can tell their story and hopefully gain some interest from people like yourselves.
Kudos. At least somebody is doing something to get the word out about what's going on in the world of manufacturing, to put a spotlight on it. I got a few more questions. Are a variety of internships offered from the shop floor to the office? Like, do you also hold office positions for young adults?
Yes. So I have curated two different types of experiences. One is solely just in the office. So you could do business, marketing, advertising, sales, learning the finance side of things. And on the other side, we do whether it's learning QC, quality control, whether it's inspection, whether it's running a machine, you have to be a certain age, right? So if you're coming to me at 17 or 18, you can definitely run a machine. But if not, then we kind of put you towards the inspection route, QC, learning that, maybe installing some assembly work with like flanges or set screws. But yes, I do. And I do them every year. This year was really, really neat. I had one girl who's Arabic, and she just rocked our socks off. She started the TikTok. She did a lot of the Instagram posts. She did a lot of content for LinkedIn. She just came with so much value and really, really loves STEM. And so she's learning how to code, and she wants to go into computer science. So she was just amazing when it came to doing the types of analytics with LinkedIn and Instagram and seeing what happened there. The other intern that we had, his name was Arman. He's Indian and amazing. He is in robotics, loves it, like literally builds his own robots.
Yeah, they compete nationally with the robots.
Yeah, and he came from high school, right? He's a senior this year. And I reached out to my connections, and one guy's name's Craig Zabaris. He literally has robots on his floor. He makes them and sells them. And I asked for a favor. I said, I didn't want this engineering student that loves robots to be bored here, because we don't do a lot of real engineering that would require robotics. So I was like, can I just borrow a robot for 6 weeks? And he let me have a robot for 6 weeks. I actually got it for 8. So Arman had a robot at his disposal for 8 weeks, and he was able to code and program that robot to do whatever he wanted to do. And now he's bored in robotics class at school because now he got the real thing. But what was so cool is that he came to me when I first was interviewing him, and he really wanted to either go into aerospace or robotics. And guess what? He now only wants to do robotics. He wants to build them, code them, make them, watch them run. And he just signed on to Purdue University, going into their robotics and automation engineering school. So I feel really cool that I've been able to give these experiences to the kids, whether they work for me full time or not. I think it's so important to give them the kind of space to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
There was another question that was in the chat, and this is a very hard question. How about opening a shop in Chicago?
How is it? Oh, Lord.
or can either of you, are you guys considering opening a shop in Chicago?
Not for me.
Yeah, not well. So here's why. We have 5 delivery vehicles out at all times during the day, doing pickups and deliveries everywhere from here to Wisconsin to Michigan to through Chicago. And so we are able to do everything that we need to do here and service a wide range of customers across the entire state and into other states. And so at this point, with property values and everything else, it doesn't make much sense for us to invest in a property in Chicago. But that's not to say y'all should come out here. It's nice. It's a little bit cheaper.
It's so great.
You got parking lots and driveways and
I know. It's so great.
We like parking lots and driveways. They're our friends.
Yeah.
Just a quick question to our aficionados on the end there. How long did it take you guys to really start to learn the language, right? I mean, I know that you may have had some training in high school, but like our kids, they'll go through our program, they'll get their NIMs and they'll understand a little bit about, some of the basics. But how long did it take you to really start to, understand specs and understand molding and be able to talk the talk?
I found coming from school right into the shop, because it was a matter of weeks for me. And it's a whole different world from having, you turn in a part for a grade and then turning in a part that gets sent out to a customer is, it's a completely different thing. And with volumes and stuff, I'd say with language and terms, especially, it's like one of those things where someone hands you something enough times, you know the name of it. But at first it feels completely clueless. I felt like I did not know anything, but within a matter of weeks, I was starting to feel confident with what I was talking about. And especially coming to the engineering side, there's a lot of terms for everything. And it's been definitely a challenge to learn and get some of it down, but it's always a learning process. There's always more stuff to learn.
So do you manage folks older than you?
It depends what you mean by manage.
lead. We'll go with lead.
Yeah.
Lead.
I put out prints to everyone in the shop. Almost every part comes through me at some point. And so, I have a lot of people older than me asking me questions for clarification. They need numbers on something. As if parts are bad, I guess it is my job to go out there and figure out what went wrong and correct that.
How do you handle that responsibility? And I'm sure you're pressured at time. How do you get through? How do you come back to work the next day when you have a bad day?
I really think the things that I make and work on are so cool. And I've always loved making things from being a kid, and being able to do that in a way where, it affects things across the country and where I'm actually making a difference in manufacturing. It feels, to me, I'm really proud of what I do. And so that really helps coming back every day. And, most of my bad days are because I can't figure something out, and I love figuring things out. So that's why I keep coming back, is so I can figure out what's going on.
And I also know where he lives. I'll go get him if he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's really important, right? To further answer your question, how does he have the confidence to do that, to tell the older generation on the floor, listen, why didn't this go right? What happened here? The reason he has that confidence is because he's got Nicole's backing, right?
Yeah.
And that's a leadership thing where Nicole has given him the authority to be able to question that. And if he has any issues, he can go to Nicole, and Nicole will then go out and say, listen, this is unacceptable. Why did this happen? Let's get through it. So it's not just one individual who's younger having to stand up to somebody who's older. It's knowing that you've got the backing of the leadership behind you.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I had a question earlier. It says, you guys are amazing. When are you adding another location in Chicago?
Yeah.
I understand.
You guys, like we said earlier, you guys can come here, come by us.
Yeah.
We're good.
The suburbs have plenty of open housing.
Yeah.
No, actually, we started in like the Franklin Park area. That's where our first facilities were. And then 26 years ago, I think my father moved us out here. We used to live out in Elmhurst. My father moved us out here. Land was cheap. It was available. And we were able to build the facility that we knew that we were going to need and grow into. And so we went where the land was. It's kind of like, early settlers, right? You go where the land is. It was a land grab.
It was.
And it's been a great opportunity for us because we would have never been able to expand the way that we have here.
Yeah.
Okay, we are coming towards our end. I do have diversity. Question mark. Tell us about the diversity in your companies.
Yeah. So obviously, not obviously, people may not know, I'm Latina. And a lot of the shop guys are Latin, which is really cool. All of my interns, I always try to grab for someone that isn't like us. I think it really helps in terms of what they can bring to the table. I love that. We're better off for it. We learn from each other. Years past, I've had Asian, like I said, I had an Arabic girl, Indian guy, Spanish. I'm here for it. I think It's amazing and I love it. And whoever comes and applies, I always love to see if we can give them a chance, but I'm a big proponent for it. And I think it's needed in a lot of other companies. A lot of the organizations that I'm a part of, we're doing a lot of D&I talk and we're bringing that conversation to the table to other manufacturers. I think a lot of times other manufacturers that are smaller are afraid to go down that road, but I feel like, hey, if I'm as small as I am and I can do it, everyone else can too. So I think it's really important to bring other diversity, other types of people to the table. We're just better off for it.
Yeah, I think diversity is it's there, right? Like we talked about earlier, we're going to hire who shows up.
Yeah.
And who comes in and who's applied and who wants to work and who has that gumption to do it.
Yeah.
We've got younger people in our shop. We've got our only two TIG welders are Mandy and Courtney, and they do TIG welding and laser welding. It's rare. We have a wide range of people from different nationalities working for us, and it's a matter of who's going to show up and do the job. I was at the AMBA conference, and there was an African-American gentleman who raised his hand. He stood up and he said, you guys keep talking about diversity, but if I look around the room, I'm pretty much by myself.
Yeah.
And the answer was, you're right. Why don't you join the board and help us figure this out? And he goes, no, I don't want to join the board. I'm just saying. And so I talked to him afterwards and I said, listen, man, I loved that you brought that to people's attention. But if you want to enact change, you got to be part of the change. You can't step into a room and say, there's not enough people like me in this room, and then not invite more people like you into this room and be part of that conversation. Yeah. So if you want change, do it. And he was like, no, I'm just saying. I was like, no, I'm just saying, like, we would love to hear more of what you have to say and bring more people in. But
I think that's why I'm on a lot of boards. I always have something to say and I'm always pushing. That's the disruptor in me. And I just think it's important. So, as a Latina, I'm constantly out there and I'm constantly talking and I'm trying to get more women involved, right? I mean, like that's another big topic. And it's difficult. So I think the more representation that we can see of each other, the better off we're going to be as a community, as a whole. And I feel like that's why I'm constantly out there, is I want to see other women, other Latinas out there look and say, oh, she's doing it. If she can do it, I can do it. And I think it's just so important. So the more kinds of conversations we have like these, the more opportunities of Zoom meetings to see other types of people, the better off we are.
But it would be real easy to go to a place and see a lot of people that look like the three of us, not you so much.
No, not me.
And say, this is not an organization for me. I won't fit in. Well,
Yeah.
the reason you won't fit in is because nobody's applying. That's
Yeah.
really it. And so if the people show up, there's an opportunity there. But you can't force somebody to come in and work. But everybody that's with us
Loves
feels comfortable and
Yeah.
they love it. It's just a matter of getting over that initial shock and walking through the door.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, I just want to leave you guys with I want you to leave the young folks with a message about why getting skilled training and becoming part of some sort of in-school or out-of-school exposure opportunity to manufacturing is so important.
What do you guys think? We'll start down there.
Well, I think personally, I knew coming out of high school that college was not the right step for me. I knew that I'm not the kind of person that does well in school. And so I figured I need to find somewhere where I can really put my skills to good use in a field that I like without having to go through 4 years more of school. And so manufacturing really was so great for that because it's all hands-on learning. I mean, there's a lot of book learning, but you could do years of book learning and you would learn more in a month of being out in the shop and actually doing it. And that for me, for someone who learns really applied, hands-on stuff, that was perfect for me. And so that really filled the gap of not knowing where I wanted to go.
It's kind of the same role that I had too. I was told college is everything, but the easiest way to say it, when I was in high school and I was making more than my parents were making, it just shows that college is not necessary. I can make a good career out of using my hands, doing what I like to do. So that's why I kept going with that.
I think, a lot of people aren't going into manufacturing just solely because there's such a big push to get into schooling right out of high school. People are applying in their senior year, and it's a good thing for some people, but I think there's not enough spotlight on what you can do without that.
Yeah, I would. I'll let you wrap up, but I'll go.
Thanks.
I mean, it's your place.
How nice. of
It's
you,
your
Tony.
place. I'm just a guest, so I don't want to go last. I think schools can do a better job of encouraging kids to do what they can do and do what they want to do and do what fits in. And I think if the schools get behind that push, then parents will get behind that push as well, because the parents want what's best for their kids. When I was in high school, I worked at our facility and my dad made my life a living nightmare. He did not want me to work there. He did not want me to work there at all. He called it justification for higher education. And he said, if you don't like this, you should study because this is going to be your life. And so I went to college. I was not a great college student, but I graduated. I moved on to other things. And then I'm literally the prodigal son. I came back to run the business because other things they weren't working out. And I took all the lessons that I learned along the way and I'm applying them now. So I don't think it's one answer for every person.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be authentic to who you are and know what you want. If you feel like you need to go into a career that requires college, go and do it and experience it. But be honest with yourself and look at it and say, listen, I'm not good at school. I'm gonna go for 4 years and just waste money and waste time and be in debt. Don't do it. Just because you're working doesn't mean you can't have fun, right? Exactly. You went straight into working, and I'm sure you didn't miss part of that lifestyle.
When I was young and working every day after work, right out of there, I was still going to concerts every other day.
Oh, there you go.
So,
but you could afford them.
I drove myself. I paid for everything. All my other friends, couldn't do anything because they didn't want to do anything. But yeah, I went to school, I worked, and I still was going to concerts, still was, doing my thing, traveling all over the place. I was able to do it.
Yeah.
And so know who you are, know yourself, know what you want out of life. Not that you're going to have your whole career path figured out. That's impossible right now, but if you're successful in school and if that's the right option for you. And if it's not, then find an option that is and learn and grow into it.
Yep. For me, just to wrap it up, try everything. Try what you think you like, what you don't like. Just try to be active and see where it takes you, because that's what happened to me. I think that's really important, is to just be willing to do a lot of different things and then go from there.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for this amazing manufacturing day. This is definitely a good spin and a perfect virtual tour. I've never had. This is like the best, I think, virtual experience we've had so far. I love the storytelling, the shop, the background information. You guys are very informational. The young adults showing other young adults that it's possible, it can be done. Even what you think you're going to do, it may not happen, but there are other alternatives out there for you. If anybody wanted to know more about either of these companies, we did leave the websites in the chat, as well as the podcast information. If you are interested in joining our training program that is virtual and it starts at the end of November, you can go to our website, www.mfgren.org, or contact the person that reached out to you to join us today. Thank you again so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys enjoy your evening. And Nicole, the band will continue. We got a lot of work to do.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're just all trying to ride her coattails.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all this is.
Amazing. She needs to teach other folks. Both of you all have done excellent with your ideologies and how current your information is. We just need to disseminate that information to everyone.
Right.
So that we all can be on the same team. But thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Here, guys.